Having a good morning routine is key to having a good day. If I start the day feeling both refreshed and productive, I'm gonna have a really good day. I don't have very much free time. Work, including the commute, keeps me from home from 8 to 8. So there's not a little wiggle room to do things. I'm also just more mentally locked in during the morning. So front loading the day with some of the harder tasks or like mentally taxing tasks is important to me. But building a morning routine has not always worked super well. I've gone through a lot, especially recently. I feel like I'm changing it every couple weeks, and that's obviously not a routine. So through trial and error, I found a fairly good structure that I think I'm gonna go with. And then with you guys, I kind of wanted to workshop this for about a week and really refine it to what does work. And hopefully if you're also someone who struggles with getting down a morning routine, or someone who just does not have a lot of time, this helps you find a morning routine that might work for you. I do plan on doing, once this is working and once I've done it for a bit, I do plan on doing a video that is this is the morning routine, like step by step-ish. But if you're curious in like what the routine ends up being, I will talk a little bit about what I plan on it being, and at the end I'll probably talk about what it's landed on. But there will be a full video at some point in the future coming that is just the routine without all this other like how-to stuff. So step one, figuring out what I needed to do each day. This was easy. I wrote down what I needed to do, and I did it in as much detail as possible. Stuff I did in the morning, stuff I do on the weekends, stuff I do in the evening, all of it in as much detail as possible went into a list. And from that list, I kind of organized it into broader chunks. So one thing I'm trying to do right now is, because I'm considering grad school in the future, I'm trying to just get myself back in an educational standpoint. So I'm reading more classics, and I'm actually trying to interact with them from like a more scholarly point of view. So like I've been reading the introductions and taking notes and asking questions and all these things. And so I'm doing that, and I would call that like education. But that, I would also say, kind of goes in with social media. It's something that I do weekly, but the nitty gritty of it is not the same every day. Just like social media, I do it weekly, but the nitty gritty of it is not the same every day. And both of these things I would consider just weekly goals because of how I track them and set the goals for myself. So this weekly goal category is the category that was born out of these things and a couple other things. I had like the more detailed grad school mind setting, social media, writing, all became weekly goals. Stuff like cleaning, I would put like the tasks like clean bathtub, clean stairs, vacuum floor, do laundry. That all just became cleaning. Tasking is my like to-do list. So I then had all these categories. So I have all these categories that are specific enough that I'm not going to be wondering what to do with the time that I've given it, but are broad enough that I don't have to do literally the exact same thing every day. Because as much as I like repetition and like having a pattern and a habit to slip into, I'm not a robot. I need a little bit of leeway. A lot of us need a structure that is not so structured that is smothering. I think that fine line has been really a struggle for me to work on. When I was looking at making them into broader groups, I kind of touched on it with my example of like education and social media and writing all being weekly goals. The reason I did clump them together and call them weekly goals is because that was already how I was naturally tracking them. I have a sticky note on my computer desktop that will be like my weekly goals. That's what's called. And then it'll be like social media, and then a list of things that I'll check off next to. And so I was already naturally falling into these categories for some of the places. That's a really good place to start if you're looking to make these like broader categories. If you're struggling, if you're like, no, this thing just doesn't fit combined with anything else, then it doesn't fit combined with anything else, and that's okay. You don't have to have everything in a broader category. It's just a little super detailed stuff that probably should fit into categories of some sort. The next step was trial and error, which I have done a little bit of. I basically was just trying to see how much was too much in the morning and how much I was mentally able to do in the morning or at night. So I tried things in both morning and night and just got down to, okay, yes, this is what I do best in the morning, and this is what I do best at night, and this is the best time for me to wake up. That was the big thing, was figuring out a time to wake up. That is the hardest thing to trial and error. I started at 6:50, which is what I had been waking up at for months. And so what I started doing is pushing the alarm back 10 minutes every time I was able to successfully wake up and not feel tired or drowsy at that time. So it went from 6:50 to 6:40, and I could do that. I did it a couple times. I was like, perfect, 6:40 it is. Let's move it back to 6:30. I could do that. So let's move it back to 6:20. I could do that. And then I moved it back to 6:10, and I could not do that. That did not work. So 6:20 it is, and I actually feel fine, and I almost naturally wake up at 6:20 most days now anyway. I force myself to sleep sometimes, and I've also been just like bad nighttime routine at the moment, which is another video in the future, but 6:20 is the time I found to be the most natural time for me to personally wake up, and even better, it gives me about an hour to do things in the morning, which is fantastic. So my current routine, alarm goes off at 6:20. I get out of bed, I put the back massager on. This thing is a back massager, and that sounds really bougie, but I have a really bad back. It is very terrible, and I'm actually going to be starting, at the time of recording, I'm going to be starting PT next week, which is kind of exciting. And so I like to warm my back up with this thing. That takes about 15 minutes, and while that's going, I'll start on some of the easier morning tasks. Now, I look at finances 3 times a week: Sundays, Tuesdays, Fridays, when I get paid on Fridays. And this might seem like a lot, but it just helps me keep in mind what I have spent, because I'm in general trying to spend less right now. So that's typically what I'm doing when the back massager is on. I will also take this time to check social media. I know a lot of people will say don't check social media in the morning, but I like it, and I don't feel negatively impacted by it. I'm gonna keep doing that. It's actually a treat to see what people have posted on like Instagram over the night. And then I also try to drink a bottle of water during this time to get the day really going. When this goes off, when it finishes after those 15 minutes, I do the rest of my morning exercises, which is mostly stretches and yoga. And then I go back to the other tasks I need to do in the morning. So right now, that very specifically are the weekly goals. So I'll do, you know, education things, I'll do social media things, and I'll do writing, although I'm not writing at the moment. I just haven't had the mental capacity or creativity at the moment to be writing regularly. I hope that changes soon. I'm not going to force it. You know, I'm not going to hurt myself for not doing it. But those are my weekly tasks, as well as if there's any like easy task that I could accomplish to get it off my plate that I don't mind doing in the morning or really wanted to do, like if it's time sensitive. And I just do that until 7:20 when I get up, get dressed, get ready for the day. Sometimes I will push this back to 7:40, but if I do that, it does mean that I have to take the tollway to work, and I do try to avoid doing that when I can. So I'll get dressed, I'll make my bed. Making my bed is super important to me. I think I would have like a little bit of a fit if I came home to an unmade bed. So I make it every morning. It does not take long at all. It's one of my favorite habits that I was able to build during high school. I will never give this up. It's so important to me. And then I will brush my teeth, wash my face, get my stuff for work. Typically my work bag is always packed. I just need to throw in my book that I'm reading and then like food for the day. But I normally keep it pretty well packed, and I don't take that much out when I'm home. And then I leave. Hopefully no later than 8:10. But again, if I'm leaving at like that point, I am probably taking the tollway to work, and I try to avoid that. That's my current morning routine. So today is Friday. I'm not starting today. I'm starting tomorrow on Saturday. Saturdays and Sundays are notoriously the hardest days for me to keep to schedule because they're the weekend, and also Sunday because I'm off. And Saturday, I just am typically very drained by that point. So hoping by doing it with you guys, starting on a Saturday will actually not be that hard. Or at least I'll keep myself more accountable by doing it with you guys. So we're going to do it tomorrow and workshop it, and I'll talk with you guys as it goes, see how it goes, etc. Wish me luck. Day 1, and I almost didn't even wake up on time. I am so tired. I went to bed an hour early last night because I was so sleepy, and it's 6:20, and I really did almost extend the alarm another like 10 minutes, like snoozed it, but I didn't. I'm up. I'm sleepy, I think because I was so comfortable, but I'm not like tired, like my brain is like awake. We're gonna just proceed. But if I have a couple days like this, in a row, I might have to change the wake up time, but I'm not gonna do it just based off of one day. Because there's always like one day here or there. And I told you guys too that weekends tend to be the hardest. So hopefully like Monday, Tuesday, it's not as difficult. I was a little bad today. It is Sunday, so I am off all day. So obviously the day is just in generally structured a little differently, but I did wake up at 6:20 when the alarm went off. But I didn't get up until just now, which is 7:38. I'm not mad about it because I enjoyed laying in bed, and I think there's no rush. You know, no need to rush myself on the weekends. I think my big goal for Sundays, and I don't have this trouble as much on Fridays, actually, but my big goal for Sundays is gonna be being out of bed by 7, especially if I am still able to wake up at 6:20. I did think for a minute, I was like, do I want to change like the wake up time to 6:30? But I think 6:20 is still fine because that laying in bed is really what I want to be doing, like all comfy cozy. I think 6:20, and then I can let myself lay in bed until 7 on days like that, I think is what I'm going to kind of try to cut it off at. Now, because I am off today, I obviously don't need to do all of my daily tasks that I normally do, specifically in the morning, because I have all day to do these things. I'm going to work within the schedule. I'm not breaking the schedule, but I'm going to work within the schedule. I'm going to actually go get some breakfast and bring it up. I do like finances, and then I think get ready for the day. Make my bed, brush my teeth, get dressed, figure out, because I had talked with a friend about maybe meeting up, and I think I do want to meet up, and then start on like the weekly goals stuff. So like the education stuff, I want to finish the introduction of Turn of the Screw and finish taking my notes on the introduction, and then I wanted to do some more reading of Body Minds Reimagined, probably also just to finish the introduction to this one as well. This has been the harder of the texts to read because it's just so scholarly and I'm not used to that. I wanted to work on editing, but those things I'm not going to do as part of the like morning routine today, and I think that's okay because I was off. So as long as I'm working within the routine, and the waking up on the weekends is what I knew would be a struggle, so as long as I'm waking up when I needed to wake up, I feel good about that. I don't think I'm mad at giving myself that window of laying down. I think I did too much of it today, but I think like half an hour, 40 minutes of it is not bad. And as like a little treat I could definitely give myself. Small little break from reading the intro to the Turn of the Screw. Waking up again at 6:40 was, or 6:20, oh my goodness, was very difficult, and I am somewhat debating changing the wake up time to 6:30. However, that's 10 more minutes to lose on like productive stuff and stuff that I need to get on that I just don't have time for later in the day. So we're gonna try it one more day tomorrow at 6:20 and be as productive as I can, and I'm gonna go back to doing this as well. And if it's not enough getting done that I think 10 minutes would make the difference, I might change it to wake up time of 6:30. But I have like 25 more minutes. I'm gonna go back to Turn of the Screw. Rather than change my wake up time to 6:30. I just have to respect myself, and that when the alarm goes off at 6:20, I need that 10-minute buffer to actually physically get up rather than springing up right away. So I am going to keep the time at 6:20. Other things I've noticed, I haven't been doing the full exercise plan that I've been trying, or that I wanted to do. And part of that is just because I've been in so much back pain right now. So I think I do just kind of have to let that be at the moment as well. It's just been too much to do anything intensive at all. I'm gonna keep the exercise portion in there, and when the back pain goes back down, we'll start doing more of them again. Otherwise, so far the schedule's been working. Not to jinx it. Tuesday night, and just a note, update, like thing that I've thought about and realized about the like morning routine schedule. I've been very grateful for like when I get to this point of the day where I'm home from work and just exhausted. I'm very grateful to morning me for having gotten stuff done and gotten so much, because it has given me like an hour of doing productive things, so that when I get home and I'm wiped, like yesterday was really bad. I had a terrible migraine last night, and tonight I was doing other things, but it took more time than I thought it would, and so I wasn't able to really do like my like weekly tasks. But because I had the time in the morning, I'm very grateful for myself for taking advantage of that time. I will say it's paying off, which is great. Tonight was not so good. I was up at actually 6:11, but I didn't get out of bed until now, 7:07. So what happened? I'm working out of a different location today, which is closer. And I think knowing that, I was like, I'm just gonna do social media in bed, and that's a bad idea, because then I was just scrolling. When I'm like here sitting, I think it keeps me motivated. It's not the right word, but like on track, I guess. I don't have to leave at my regular time today though, so I'm gonna figure that out. I know like last night I was literally saying how like grateful I am to myself for being productive in the morning, and tonight I actually won't have any time to be productive because I am going to be calling a friend to just catch up on stuff. I won't have time to do other productive things. This does really make me wonder about if the 6:20 is super sustainable though. Obviously repetition will help a lot. If I'm this tired in the morning, I really don't want to change that 6:20 wake up. Reasons I think I've already explained. On days off, I might start taking a nap though. I think that's something I'm going to start considering. Today that's obviously not possible. So it is Thursday night, which means tomorrow morning is my last chance during this week period. Week is an W-E-E-K, not W-E-A-K, period, to get this correct and to really take notes on it. And I'm a little worried because I'm off tomorrow as well. But this morning, I had an appointment, but in the lead up to the appointment, I was so productive, and when I came home, I felt like I still had the full day ahead of me to both relax and do things. And so it was just a great start, and I would really like, because I have another appointment for something else tomorrow, I'd really like to be able to recreate it, but we'll see. I'm really, really gonna work hard at it, and we'll see in the morning. I believe in me though. I think if I could do it today, I can do it tomorrow. And I think if I can do it tomorrow, I'll be proving to myself that I can maintain the schedule. But there will be a little I'm gonna give myself some time in between finishing this like week of practice and like running through it to reflect, and then we'll talk about like my reflections and notes and advice for creating a morning routine as well. I'm getting ahead of myself. Do I do it tomorrow? Am I able to do it tomorrow? I hope so. What did I learn? My biggest takeaway of this workshop with you guys is that nailing the wake up time is probably the hardest thing to do, and also the number one most important thing to do when creating a morning routine. So it's been about a week since I recorded the experimental like practice week, and I've managed to maintain that 6:20 wake up almost no problem. I do still sometimes wake up sleepy, which is different than being tired. So I'm not actually exhausted, I'm just sleepy. You know, it's becoming winter. I want to cuddle up in my blankets and just like read and be cozy. But I have managed to maintain this 6:20 wake up time There was one day where I did end up snoozing the alarm, but I still woke up at like 6:40 and got up and started doing things. And then there was another day that I did let myself lay in bed for a while after waking up at 6:20 and like scrolling on social media for a while. But that was a choice I was making. I was like, yes, it's a weekend. I want to take the time to sit here or to lay here and scroll and be comfy cozy. You know, it's a little bit of reward for myself. It's a treat for the end of the week. I actually feel really good about being able to maintain that 6:20 outside of when I'm holding myself accountable on camera. And because I've been able to maintain this and been able to be pretty productive each morning because I'm maintaining this, the one day this week that I had an appointment and had to wake up, I would have had to wake up at that time anyways, even if this wasn't my morning routine in order to make this appointment. I was able to do that and it felt natural. It was no struggle at all. I didn't even feel bad that I wasn't able to be productive that morning outside of the appointment because I have been so on top of things. The biggest benefit, as you see from earlier parts of this video, is that when I get home from work, I'm much more able to relax. And I'm so much more drained after work than I am in the morning. So being able to, even if there are a few smaller things I need to do when I get home, being able to know, okay, I just need to do this small allotment of tasks and then I can go to bed early, or I can take a long bath, or I can read, or I can watch something, like knowing that it really was relaxation and like detox from the daytime was such a boon and is something that I didn't even realize I needed as much as I did. So it's been really nice. And mornings when it was a little harder to wake up, reminding myself that I will really appreciate it later in the day, did actually work. For things that failed, I did end up pretty much axing the exercise portion of my morning routine. I do still do the stretches every morning, and I would like to at some point introduce exercise back into a morning routine, but right now it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. It was too much, and I felt more overwhelmed in the morning than productive. I felt like I wasn't getting anything done because the thing I was getting done was the thing I was least interested in doing. I also wouldn't say I exercise better in the morning than in the evening. So it is something that when I start working on my evening routine, will probably make it into the evening. Besides exercise, the morning never felt too full. I felt productive. I felt accomplished. And by the time I got to work, I felt well awake because I had been awake and I had been doing things. My brain turning on earlier in the morning, I feel like also let me be more considerate, I think is the word I'm looking for. Like considerate of my time and other people's times. And when I was making decisions, I was making them fully, like with all of my mental faculties able to act within the decision-making process. I didn't even realize this is something I would see change. Work right now is really stressful. We're coming into the holidays, and so for retail, this is like a very important time to get things right. And I think that waking up early and getting things done, and therefore being prepared for this stress in a way I didn't even think I would be prepared for, has been really beneficial to my mental health and to actually my work, what I do at work, as well as I think to my work-life balance. So it's had a lot of these ripple effects that I really couldn't have predicted, but I'm very grateful for really maintaining the consistency on this routine. Like this routine, I can't say strongly enough, is really, really working for me, and I'm really, really happy, and I do think it has been a net benefit on my entire life. So some tips for you when you are creating your morning routine. Again, waking up and finding the proper wake up time is the number one most important thing you're going to do when creating the morning routine. If you can, I recommend spending a week without an alarm set and seeing what time you just naturally wake up. Not when you wake up, hit snooze, and then go back to sleep and then wake up again, but the first time you initially wake up. If you can't do that, like I obviously couldn't do that, I recommend walking back when your alarm is set until you find a time where it's feasible for you to wake up, but not so that you will be exhausted and actually tired for the rest of the day or even the rest of the morning. Practice the routine. I think that this week that I workshopped it with you guys was a really good window into seeing what was working and what wasn't, as well as getting an idea of what those benefits are from having the wake up routine and the morning routine that I have created for myself. So I would recommend, give it a week, determine what's working, what's not. If it's really not working, take a step back, reevaluate, and maybe start from scratch, or figure out exactly what pieces of it are working and just move forward with those. But you do have to kind of give it a couple days where you're able to do this routine regularly to see if it's actually worth it. Doing it one day and failing or succeeding isn't going to determine that that is the morning routine you should have. Knowing what you like to do at different parts of the day, as well as knowing what you do well at different parts of the day, is really key to creating the best morning routine for yourself. Don't punish yourself for failure. This is something that I have had to work on in a lot of aspects of my life. I very much instinctually want to punish myself when I'm not able to reach a goal I've set, which is a little ridiculous because it's a goal I've set. Your morning routine is something you're creating for yourself. You shouldn't punish yourself over a self-made task. Being strict with yourself is one thing. You know, if it's not working and you have to be a little mean, like, wake up now, Sam, wake up, that's one thing. But I have in the past done things where I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't able to wake up on time, then I can't take a bath, which I love baths. They're like my number one relaxation thing. I can't take a bath for like a week because I failed at this thing. That's not helping. And so punishing yourself or being so upset at yourself is not going to help you create a routine. Be kind to yourself, be honest about your strengths and weaknesses, and lean into your strengths and walk away from your weaknesses. You can build those up in other aspects, maybe when you have more time. But when you're creating something for yourself to make your life better, don't punish yourself over your inability to achieve what you think you should be able to achieve. Deciding on what you want versus what you need in the morning routine is a balancing act. What you need to do are things that you obviously have to get done in the morning for whatever reason. What you want to do is sometimes, at least for me, a lot more than I actually have time for. So figuring out what you want to do, maybe ranking that into what is most important, and then deciding if you have time for what and how much. But really walking that balancing act. You don't want to be overwhelmed with things you want to do and not be able to do the things that you actually need to do. And then my last tip is just not to neglect self-care. I really didn't show it in this video because it wasn't the most interesting part, but you need to take care of yourself. And I think you should really start the day with taking care of yourself wash your face, brush your teeth, take your shower, drink your tea, and don't feel like you have to rush through these things. You're still waking up in the morning, and it is okay to take your time and enjoy the experience of doing these things. These are little acts of self-care, but they really do add up, and I think they're really important. Don't let yourself become a burden on yourself. Be kind to yourself, be forgiving, create a morning routine that makes your life better. And sometimes it takes a lot of time. I have worked through so many morning routines before I figured out this one that is really working for me. I'm really pleased and I'm really happy with it. But had I not gone through all these failures, I really wouldn't have reached this point. This may not seem like such a big accomplishment for a lot of people, but I'm someone who it is a big accomplishment for. I feel so much more put together, and I feel like I have such a better day now that I have this nailed down. So good luck out there. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. And if you want to talk about your morning routine, if you want to, discuss things, let's comment, let's talk down below. Otherwise, I will see you all soon. Bye.